You ever catch yourself looking at an old photo and thinking, wow, I used to lift groceries in one hand and a toddler in the other? Or maybe you remember how easily you'd spring up from the floor, carry laundry up the stairs, or bend down to pull weeds in the garden without a second thought. Those little moments weren't just about youth, they were about strength. Not big, bulging muscle kind of strength, but the everyday, steady kind that carried you through life without aches or strain. And here's something I want to share with you right away. Just because you're a little older now doesn't mean that kind of strength is gone forever. Not at all. In fact, it's right there, waiting for a little nudge. You see, muscle doesn't disappear overnight. It sleeps. It slows down. But with a few simple habits, we can gently wake it back up. And I promise you, it's not about running marathons or lifting weights the size of a car battery. It's about small, thoughtful movements that you can do right in your living room, or even sitting on the edge of your bed. Today, we're going to talk about those simple practices, gentle, daily things you can start doing that will help you feel stronger, steadier, and yes, even a bit like you did in your 40s again. Not because we're chasing the past, but because we deserve to feel confident in our own bodies now. This is about moving with ease, standing with confidence, and keeping your independence. We're not aiming for the Olympics. We're aiming for a pain-free walk in the park, carrying your own groceries, or lifting your grandbaby without thinking twice. Let's start with something very simple. Something most people overlook: posture. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Posture? That's for fancy models and ballroom dancers. But hear me out. Good posture is like the foundation of a house. If it's off, everything above it starts to tilt or strain. If you've ever had back pain or sore knees after standing for a while, poor posture might be the reason. So here's a little practice. Whenever you're standing, or even sitting, imagine there's a string pulling the top of your head toward the ceiling. Gently roll your shoulders back and down, not stiff, just relaxed and open. Feel how your chest lifts and your spine straightens? That tiny shift takes pressure off your lower back, opens up your lungs, and even boosts your mood. Do this a few times a day. At the kitchen sink, brushing your teeth, watching TV. With just this little habit, your muscles start waking up and realigning. And the best part? It costs nothing and takes no extra time out of your day. Now, once you've tuned into your posture, let's add a little bit of movement. Nothing wild, just something that keeps your joints happy and muscles awake. One of my favorite ones is something I like to call the tea kettle lift. You know how you reach out to grab a kettle or a small pot of soup from the stove? That movement, lifting, holding, and pulling in, is a perfect way to engage your arm and shoulder muscles. You can practice it with a lightweight item at home. Maybe a small jug of water, a can of beans, or even your handbag. Stand tall, remember that posture. Hold the object in front of you with both hands, and slowly lift it to chest height. Hold it there for a breath or two, and slowly lower it. Do this 5 or 6 times while breathing evenly. If you do this once or twice a day, you're reminding your arms and shoulders that they still have purpose. And let me tell you, the body remembers. It responds. And don't underestimate the power of doing these small movements with care. Even just getting up from your chair without using your hands. That's a muscle workout right there. Try it next time. Scoot to the edge of your seat, plant your feet flat, and slowly stand without pushing off the armrests. Do it safely, of course, maybe near a counter or something sturdy, just in case. But over time, this simple stand-and-sit movement builds real power in your legs and core. And those are the muscles that help you climb stairs, keep your balance, and walk without feeling wobbly. It's funny, isn't it? How the smallest things we used to do without thinking, are now the very tools we can use to feel younger and stronger again. The trick is consistency. A little every day. Not big, not painful. Just kind, patient practice. The way you might tend a garden. You don't flood the plants. You water them gently, regularly, and over time, they bloom. Now, speaking of blooming, there's one more daily move I want to share with you next, something that not only strengthens your body, but actually helps your heart and lungs, too. It's easier than you might think, and you might already be doing a version of it without even realizing. Now, what I was about to tell you is something beautifully simple and I'd bet you already do it almost every day without giving it much thought. It's walking. That's right, just plain old walking. But here's the thing. When done with a little intention, walking can be one of the most powerful ways to build strength, especially in your legs, hips, and core. And we're not talking about speed walking or power laps around the block. Just a good, steady walk, even if it's back and forth down your hallway or a few rounds around your garden. You see, walking isn't just about getting from one place to another. It helps wake up the muscles in your legs, strengthens your balance, and even keeps your joints lubricated. Every step is like a gentle message to your body. Hey, we're still in this together. And here's a fun little trick to make your walk work even better for you. Try exaggerating your steps just a bit. Lift your knees a touch higher. Swing your arms naturally. Keep your chin up and eyes forward, not down at the ground. This turns your walk into a full-body tune-up. You don't need a fancy track or a gym. Just a safe, clear space and a comfortable pair of shoes. And if you're someone who prefers staying indoors, maybe it's raining or the sun's too hot, try walking in place during TV commercials or while waiting for your tea to steep. Just 2 or 3 minutes here, and they'll add up faster than you think. The key is to get those legs moving and keep the rhythm steady. You'll feel a difference in just a week or two, not only in your muscles, but in your energy, too. Speaking of energy, let's talk about something most people forget when they think about muscle: breathing. Yes, breathing. Not the kind you do while snoozing on the couch, but mindful breathing, the kind that fills your lungs, stretches your ribs, and wakes up your diaphragm. Now, why does this matter for muscle strength? Because when you breathe deeply, you're actually engaging your core muscles, the ones deep in your belly and back that support everything you do, from standing to reaching to laughing. Try this with me. Sit comfortably, with your feet flat on the floor and your back straight. Place one hand on your chest and the other on your belly. Now breathe in slowly through your nose, aiming to make the hand on your belly rise while the one on your chest stays fairly still. Hold that breath for just a moment, and now gently exhale through your mouth like you're blowing out a candle. Did you feel your stomach muscles contract? That's your core at work. Do this deep breathing exercise for just a couple of minutes each morning, maybe before you get out of bed or right before breakfast. It helps oxygen flow through your body, reduces stress, and strengthens those deep muscles that often get forgotten. And the beauty of it? You can do it anytime, sitting in your armchair, lying down, even standing at the sink. Now, while we're building strength and breathing deeper, there's another little hero in your body that deserves some love: your hands. Yes, your hands. Think about how many things you do each day with them: holding cups, opening jars, writing notes, dialing the phone. Our grip strength is one of the first things to slip as we get older, but the good news? It's also one of the easiest things to rebuild with just a little daily effort. A simple practice you can try is the soft squeeze. All you need is a small ball, like a tennis ball, a rolled-up pair of socks, or even a soft stress ball. Hold it in one hand and gently squeeze, then release. Do this 10 times, then switch hands. This helps strengthen the muscles in your fingers, hands, and forearms. And trust me, it makes a difference. Before long, you'll find it easier to open tight lids, carry bags, or even play cards without cramping. You can also do little finger stretches. Spread your fingers out wide, hold for a few seconds, and then gently close your hand into a fist. Repeat that a few times, especially if your hands tend to feel stiff in the morning or after being still for a while. And here's something wonderful about these simple movements. They don't just make your muscles stronger, they remind you of your independence. They remind you that your body, no matter how many birthdays it's seen, still responds to love and attention. You don't need fancy tools or hours of exercise. Just these small, mindful acts, repeated with care and consistency. Now, as your arms grow steadier, your breath gets deeper, your legs move more freely, and your hands feel more alive, something beautiful begins to happen. You start to feel a little more like you again. Strong, capable, and grounded. Not because you're turning back the clock, but because you're giving your body exactly what it's been asking for all along: movement, intention, and kindness. And just when you think that might be all, there's one more piece to this whole puzzle. Something that often goes unspoken, but is just as important as muscles and movement. It's the quiet strength that comes from the inside, the kind that fuels everything else. That inner strength I was just talking about. It's your mindset, your attitude, the quiet voice inside that says, let's give it a try today. I can tell you all about posture and movement and breathing, but none of it truly works unless you believe, deep down, that you still have the power to change. And you do. You really do. You know, I once spoke with a gentleman in his 70s who used to be a carpenter. Strong hands, strong back, the kind of man who could carry 2 buckets of nails without blinking. But over the years, he'd stopped moving the way he used to. Said everything felt heavier, slower. He thought, well, that's just what happens when you get old. But one day, he decided to try something new, just 10 minutes a day of stretching and light movement. Nothing fancy, a few arm lifts, gentle squats, and breathing. After 2 weeks, he told me, I feel like I got my tools back. Not because he looked 20 years younger, but because he moved 20 years better. That's the shift I'm talking about. There's a kind of power that builds when you take care of yourself, not just physically, but mentally. When you say to yourself, I'm not done yet. There's still more life to enjoy. Because there is. Whether it's dancing in the kitchen, walking through the market without needing to rest, or simply sitting down and standing up with confidence. These are victories. They matter. And the mindset that says, I'm going to keep going, is what makes all the difference. Now let me give you another little practice that brings both the body and mind together. Something often overlooked, but deeply powerful. Balance work. As we get older, we tend to avoid activities that make us feel unsteady. But avoiding balance challenges only makes the body forget how to stay upright. The good news? Balance can absolutely be trained. And with it comes more muscle strength, better coordination, and way more confidence. You don't need anything special to work on balance. In fact, here's something to try right now. Stand near a counter or sturdy chair and gently lift one foot off the ground, just an inch or 2. See how long you can hold it without grabbing the chair. Try to relax your shoulders and keep your gaze steady. If you wobble a bit, that's okay. That's your body learning. Start with 10 seconds on each foot, then build from there. Over time, you'll notice that everyday movements, like stepping into the bathtub or getting dressed, feel more secure. You can also add movement to your balance practice. One great exercise is the heel-to-toe walk. Imagine you're walking on a tightrope. Place one foot directly in front of the other, heel touching toe, and walk a straight line slowly. This strengthens the muscles in your legs and core, while also training your brain and body to stay steady. And hey, you might feel a little silly doing it at first, but you'll be amazed at how quickly your body starts to adapt. And here's something else I want you to remember. Rest is part of the process. It's not about pushing yourself to exhaustion. It's about moving, then allowing the body to recover. Muscles grow during rest just as much as they do during movement. So if you feel tired after trying a few new things, that's a good sign. That means your body's working, adjusting, strengthening. It's also perfectly okay to have slow days. Days when all you manage is a few stretches while you sit in your chair or roll your shoulders while waiting for the kettle to boil. What matters most is that you show up for yourself in some small way, every day. That's how strength returns. Not in a rush, but like a sunrise, slow and steady. And if there's one last thing I could ask you to take away from all this, it's this. You're not too old. Not even close. Your body may have some wear and tear, sure, but it's also filled with wisdom and experience. And yes, the ability to grow stronger again. Your muscles are still listening. Your bones are still supporting you. Your heart is still beating with purpose. So whether you're 60 or 90, it's never too late to start, to lift your chin a little higher, to breathe a little deeper, to take that next step forward with courage. You are capable. You are resilient. And every day you choose to move, stretch, and care for yourself, you're reclaiming a little more of the strength that's been with you all along. Now, if you enjoyed this little chat, I'd love for you to leave a comment down below. Tell me how you're feeling, or share a tip of your own. And if this message gave you a spark of hope or a smile today, go ahead and hit that like button. Maybe even subscribe so we can keep this journey going together. There's so much more I'd love to share with you. You're never too old to feel young again. And you, my friend, are just getting started.